Hey, welcome back to the podcast. This week, we are going to be talking about electrolyte drinks and how a daily mineral drink can really help with your hormone symptoms. If this happens to be your first episode of the podcast and you've never heard me talk about minerals before, you don't have any idea how they impact your hormones, take a second to pause this episode and click back to episode 88. Listen through that one and then come back to this episode. It's going to make so much more sense, and you're going to have the backstory about why you need these mineral and electrolyte drinks in the first place. So, I'm not going to get into all of the why because those of you that have been listening here for a while, we just did that a couple weeks ago. The basics of it is that we have to have minerals in order for our body to function optimally, and that includes our production and balance of our hormones. And when we are depleted in minerals and electrolytes, things are just not working as well as they could be. And depletion with our minerals and electrolytes are extremely common amongst moms because the heavy demand that we have on our bodies through pregnancy, through breastfeeding, if you choose to breastfeed, and then just because of the stress that we are under as moms, the mental load, the day to day. Plus, we have all of the regular stressors like work stress, financial stress, emotional stress, environmental stressors from being exposed to toxins and dyes and synthetic things in our environment. And it's things that we can't always control all of those things. But what we can control is us supporting our minerals and our electrolytes. And yes, it is great for us to have the testing. You guys, if you've been hanging out with me for a while, you have heard me talk about how important HTMA testing is and how not even just important it is, but how powerful it is, because then you can see exactly what your specific body needs to get to that point of being replenished and able to function optimally. And I'm going to be recording an updated episode in the next couple of weeks on HTMA testing, like a high overview of what it is, who needs it, why you need it, and, kind of what it is, how you do it. Because it's been quite a while. I looked for an episode just this past week. I wanted to send it to someone. They had never really been introduced to HTMA before. And I looked back, I think it's like episode 17 or 18 or something like that. It was quite a while ago that I recorded that episode. So I want to do a new one. But getting back to today's topic, I have gathered 5 of my favorite electrolyte and mineral drinks that I keep here at the house on hand regularly, that I consume regularly. And then I also have one of my absolute favorite homemade electrolyte mineral drinks that I want to share the recipe with you guys because it's extremely tasty. Okay, so let's start with Limit because that is a very popular, well-known brand. And if you hang out in my world, you probably get targeted ads on your Facebook, your Instagram, your wherever for Limit. Limit is a very sodium forward electrolyte. It's got 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 of potassium, 60 of magnesium. And if you just heard that sodium amount and you're like, holy moly, we have to keep in mind that this is not the same form of sodium as what we're consuming in like a standard table salt, where everybody, like as you get older and people have heart conditions or kidney problems, sometimes they're like, oh, you need to limit your salt. Well, our bodies actually need quite a bit of sodium to function. And it's not that we need to avoid sodium. It's really more about the form of sodium that we are consuming. So the nice thing about these electrolyte powders that I'm going to be talking through is that they have a really well-sourced form of the sodium, and it's a form of the sodium that hasn't been stripped of its other minerals. And, even just in your day-to-day, like cooking and salting your food, you really want to get away from using that traditional table salt and using something like a Celtic sea salt, or I personally really like Redmond's sea salt. Okay, back to Limit. I like Limit for someone that either is very, very depleted in their sodium, which is actually quite common on HTMA testing, Or someone that does a lot of strenuous activity or maybe works outside in the summer or does something that's going to cause them to sweat a lot. Um, the next one that I'm going to talk about also has a high amount of sodium, but it's balanced really well with potassium. This one, I wish that it had a little bit more potassium and magnesium in it, but overall, again, it's one that I keep on hand and I keep it on a rotation. It's not one that I consume daily. Um, but I use it when I feel depleted and I feel like I need it. The next brand that I have is called Salt, SALTT. And I'll be honest, I had never heard of this one before until I started getting some ads for it. And I just like ignored it for a while. But then I finally was like, I just keep seeing this. I want to look at it. I wonder what their, like potassium, magnesium, sodium content is and the other ingredients. So I looked it up, I read into it. I really like the makeup of this electrolyte drink. So we've got 969 milligrams of sodium, 415 milligrams of potassium, and 178 milligrams of magnesium. It also like checks all the boxes as far as being like allergy friendly. Like it's free of dairy, gluten, soy, it's keto friendly if you're trying to do low carb. There's, no sugars. That's one of the things people always ask me, like, well, if I'm just, I'm looking at other brands than the ones that you mentioned, like, what's something to look for? What should I look out for? What do I not want in my drink? And added sugar's a big one. Um, the other thing that I really like about this is that I ordered the Ultra Variety Pack to start. It came with 30 different individual sticks, which those are nice to have on hand for when you're going to be out and about, because then you can just pop them in a water bottle no matter where you are. And I wish that I still had the rundown of all the different flavors that were in here, but I've consumed most of them. I honestly need to reorder, and I'm going to soon. And I I also like when I'm trying a new brand and they do offer so many different flavors, I like to get like a variety pack so that I can then find the flavor or flavors that I like. And then I'll transition to ordering the jars a lot of the times because the jars are cheaper. And since I work from home and I'm home most of the time, the jars work fine for me. With this one, I really like all the flavors that I've tried so well that I think I'll continue to get this variety pack. That way, I also have the convenience of having some options that I have the individual sticks with that, are good for travel. Okay, the next one that I have here is another brand that I love. It's the Cure brand, Cure. Um, I started drinking this brand primarily, like it kind of became my number one electrolyte drink about a year and a half ago, I would say. And part of the reasoning for that was that they have a variety of flavors, and I was kind of burnt out on the other flavors that I had been consuming. So the one that I have here in my hand is a strawberry kiwi. That's one of my favorites. They also have I think it's blueberry pomegranate, or maybe now they just call it berry. I think the name changed recently, but it's very, very tasty and I love it. But in terms of like what this one contains, wow, the label on the back of theirs is not very reader friendly. This is tiny. Okay, here we go. Okay, we've got sodium 240 milligrams, potassium 315 milligrams, and I don't see where they mention their magnesium. It may not even have magnesium in it on this one. Um, I am torn on this one. It's one that I do recommend. It's one that I will continue to order and keep on hand, but some of you may or may not know, I've been doing a lot of CGM wearing in the past several months, not continuously, but like I'll wear one for the 2 weeks it's good for. I'll skip a couple weeks, I'll put one back on. I've been working through some insulin resistance that I've been dealing with since having my babies and trying to overcome that. And having the CGM where I can continuously monitor my blood sugar has been really helpful and important on that journey. And unfortunately, one of the things that I have noticed is that Cure will spike my blood sugar. So I have to be conscious of when I'm drinking it and kind of pair it with a meal instead of just having it randomly throughout the day. And this one, if you're somebody, I've also been digging into like lower carb eating temporarily and looking at some keto guidelines and things because of a protocol that I'm working through to fix this insulin resistance that I'm dealing with. And maybe I'll make a podcast episode about that when I'm finished working through this protocol. But one of the things that really stood out to me about this particular formulation, when I did note, like on my CGM data, that it was starting to spike my blood sugar, I was like, hang on, like, why is that? So I came and I took a look at the label, and it has 6 grams of carbs per serving, which is quite a bit, and explains the reasoning for why it's spiking my blood sugar. And a lot of that is probably coming from the coconut water powder. It's also, I'm trying to find it on the label. This one is sweetened with monk fruit. I'm like almost positive. It doesn't have any added sugar, but yeah, right there, monk fruit extract. So, it's just something that if you are like me and you have to be really conscious of things that are going to impact your blood sugar, I would have I would avoid that one, or I would use it with caution and rely on one of these other options, because these other options taste just as great and they don't have that effect on my blood sugar. I have compared it. Okay, the next one that I have here is Jigsaw Health's potassium cocktail. I get the blue raspberry flavor. I love this one. It's probably my favorite flavor. I have kind of gotten myself a little burnt out on it because I have drank it almost every single day for probably coming up on 3, maybe 4 years. It just it has a really great taste. I started using this one particularly because on my HTMA results, my potassium was like completely bottomed out. And I was like, I need to find a really easy way for me to get a good amount of potassium every day and help replenish this level. And this powder, one serving has 800 milligrams of potassium, which is that's a pretty substantial amount. So it's got the 800 of potassium. It does have a little sodium at 90 milligrams, a little bit of magnesium at 50 milligrams. So this one I definitely do recommend for my clients that have low potassium on their HTMA results. And that's again, like sodium and potassium both being very low is super, super common in the moms that I work with. And I think there's a lot of factors that contribute to that. Some of them I've mentioned already. It's pregnancy, it's breastfeeding. But I also have really noticed a big connection. And this is, I haven't done like a study on this. This is just my own observation and something that I always kind of keep in the back of my mind that I'm kind of keeping a running list of. I have noticed that women like myself who spent years on birth control come to me with super depleted sodium and potassium levels. And I'm like, there has to be, we know that birth control depletes minerals in general, but there has to be a connection specifically to those 2 minerals. There just has to be. And I hope that somebody studies that one day. Maybe they are already, and I just don't know about it. The other one, I'm out of this one right now, but while I'm on Jigsaw Health, I want to mention their Electrolyte Supreme because it's a really well-rounded. It would kind of like replace your Gatorade. I don't have it in front of me, so I don't have the amounts of things that's in there, but it has more than just sodium, potassium, magnesium. It has all of your trace minerals as well, some vitamins in there. I really like their fruit punch flavor, and it's a good just kind of like every day to have on hand to rotate in as you get, I like to mix up my flavors. Some people are like, nope, I just need the one. I can drink the same thing every day. I never get sick of it. No big deal. And that's great. But I like a little variety every once in a while. Okay, the last one I'm going to talk about is the MagSooth. And I almost didn't grab this one because I don't really know why. I didn't. It is an electrolyte drink. It is a mineral drink. I exclusively drink this one at night, which is when you're supposed to take it. It does help with sleep. I have clients that they start on this and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize like how poorly I was sleeping until I started taking the Mag Soothe, and I'm sleeping so deep and waking up feeling so rested. So if you're somebody that struggles with sleep, like I definitely would add this into your routine. It doesn't make you sleepy when you take it. Like you don't feel sleepy like you would with like a melatonin, but I absolutely tell a difference when I take it and when I don't. For example, last night I didn't take it and I do not feel like I rested as well. As far as what it contains, it's 200 milligrams of magnesium, 130 grams of sodium, and 180 of potassium. So pretty well rounded there. Now, I personally do really like to have the powders on hand. That is just my personal preference. And I think it will be for a lot of you guys too, because it's easy. And as moms, we need easy because if it's not easy, we're probably not going to do it because inevitably, the minute we go to fix ourselves a mineral drink, a kid is going to need a snack. They're going to need a toy. They're going to have a meltdown. It's going to be time to go out the door and you don't have time. Like something is going to interfere with that. Whereas it takes me 2 seconds to either grab one of these travel packets or scoop a scoop of this into my water cup. That's why I like them. It's not that they are like superior to homemade versions. Um, you can make your own versions at home, probably cheaper. I'll be honest, you can probably do it cheaper at home. You do pay a price, for the convenience. It's not that they're not affordable. I think they are affordable, especially when you break down like the like a dollar amount per serving. It's not anything that's outrageous by any means. But you can probably make your own at home cheaper, and it might even be with ingredients you already have on hand. Um, but again, that doesn't work for everybody. But I do want to share one of my favorite nighttime mineral mocktails to mix up. It's very yummy. Um, it does also help me sleep, and it feels like a nice treat at the end of the day. Like, not a treat in the sense of like a brownie or a cookie, but just, I don't know. It's just something like it's fun to put together. I think it tastes good. Like, I'll drink it a lot of times. Um, if I'm going to take a bath at night, which I like to do before bed a lot of times, especially in the winter, I'll mix this up and take it to the bathroom with me and sip on it while I'm in the bathtub. And it just, I don't know, makes me feel good. I like it. This one is a tart cherry version, which now, one disclaimer here, tart cherry juice does have quite a bit of sugar in it. So if you're someone that has to watch your sugar, be mindful of that. I haven't been able to drink this for myself in just a little bit because of this protocol that I've been working through, but I hope to bring it back soon. It's not one that I do every single night. It has a little too much sugar for me to consistently do it every night, but um, like I said, it's a nice treat every once in a while. So the way you make it, it is a fourth a cup of tart cherry juice, which again is a minimal amount anyway. But anyway, okay, fourth a cup of tart cherry juice, half a cup of coconut water, 1 scoop of the Mag Soothe. So even though this one is like, yes, it's homemade, you still would have to purchase the Mag Soothe because that's your magnesium source. A tablespoon, or sometimes I put a little more, of lime juice, a pinch of sea salt, and then you put ice and water in it, like to finish filling up your cup. Um, Mix it all up. It's very good. It's tart. It's sweet. It's just really yummy. And you get, you're getting your magnesium, you're getting your potassium from the coconut water, plus you're adding that pinch of sea salt, so you're getting your sodium. And those are really the components that you're looking for when you make a homemade mineral drink, or sometimes you call them an adrenal cocktail. You want the sodium, you want the potassium, you want some magnesium. So you have to get a source for those things in there. Um, I used to have, and I still have it. It's still a great resource. Maybe I think I'll link this for you guys to download in the show notes today. It's called My Minerals for Mama's Guide. I haven't talked about it in a while. But it's really great. It gives a quick overview of minerals, what they are, why you need them, how to get them into your diet more. And then at the end, it has one, two, three, four different homemade mineral drink recipes that I like to um, make every once in a while that are really good. And it has some suggestions for um, tweaks you can make to meals too to add in some additional minerals. So I'll link that just in today's show notes so that you guys can download it, especially if you're somebody that's just starting to learn about minerals and try to incorporate more of them into your diet because it's a really helpful resource for that. So, all of that being said, to wrap us up, if you are struggling with your period symptoms, with your cycle symptoms, if it's fatigue, period cramps, heavy flow on your period, maybe you're preparing to get pregnant or you've been trying to get pregnant and you're not having any luck. Those are all things that I work with my clients on to improve. We get to the root cause of why you're having that experience in the first place, and then we can fix it. Um, I have in the show notes always a link to book a call with me. It is a Happy Hormones Clarity call, free 20 minutes. We get on a call, we talk about what you've got going on, what your symptoms are, what your goals are, and I give you some suggestions. And then if it makes sense and I have some type of offer that I think would help you and help you get results quicker, then we can talk about what that looks like for us to work together. So I have just added availability to my calendar for next week. I would love to hop on a phone call and talk to some of you guys and see if we can get you some help. So that's all I've got for you this week. I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I will talk with you next week.